All right, Autopsy, Puncturing the Grotesque EP. Autopsy is old school death stuff. That's Chris, former Death and Bay Area guy. Generally, he wasn't Florida. He's Bay Area. Yeah. Really? Which explains a lot of the sounds, I think, in the top. Anyway, let's start at the beginning with Depths of Dehumanization.
Depths of Dehumanization is kind of an intro song.
Yeah, it's about a minute and 15 seconds long, and it's mostly just...
sounds?
Yeah, I said that it starts off super muted. It's this original... And then that becomes more sonically clear, but less coherent. I was like, almost when it's muted, you can more like go, oh, that's... Alright, that's fine. But then when finally you can hear the individual bass notes playing, and there's no guitar, it sounds like the lead and the rhythm guitar are both doing separate things also. It's just this... Oh
yeah, and the whole thing is very chaotic. And if you listen to it closely, there's a lot of neat little bass doodlies.
Yeah, no, there's an interesting display of what I believe is random, sort of skillful playing. This is really skillful playing in a non-melodic way.
Yeah. Anyway, it's very chaotic, makes sense with the title.
Yep, and it's
a good intro.
Yeah, it's good skillful noise. It brings you into Puncturing the Grotesque, the title track.
The Grotesque. This is, if this album had a single, I think this would have.
I mean, yeah, it is the title track. Yeah, so
it's the title track.
So I've never listened to Autopsy before, so I didn't know what to think about. But it certainly wasn't like this. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting death metal, but this is not really death metal.
Well, it's yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say this has got kind of a punk vibe.
Yeah, I was gonna say punk to like deathabilly. Which I didn't know was a thing until I heard it.
Yeah, this has a fun... Yeah, it's got a really fun riff that's kind of, like, major.
Yeah, it's really awesome, and it's full of so much energy, and it's a great title track. It starts the album off totally right.
Yeah, it's so interesting, like, and this is across the whole album, it's so interesting, like, that how the guitars are so distinctive, but then the vocals... When the vocals come in, it's like they were recorded in a totally different place. Like, it's like they're recorded in a dank cave in Norway or something.
Yes, I will say that there's a thing about the vocals on this album, except for certain places where I'll bring it up later. The vocals are very backwardly mixed. They're very quiet.
Yeah.
And I think that's because the lead vocalist is also the drummer. And live, he's probably more focused on drumming than singing, and so they maybe wanted to bring that across more. Or they actually had him record the vocals and the drumming maybe at the same time.
I doubt that.
And so, I don't know. I just don't know.
It could be. But.
And so, the vocals feel very much backwardly mixed, very much in a sort of that echoey, sort of weird chamber sort of thing going on.
But, for whatever reason, I was getting a very, early 90s, quality vibe.
Yes, I 100% agree with you there. Well, they were, 87 to, 1995, and then they quit being a band for a while, and then they reunioned in 2009, and since then they've been making stuff like this, and I haven't heard the other stuff, but I will definitely go back and listen to stuff to this. So this song, the bridge is a sort of bouncy, sort of but very scaly sort of thing, and then it has a solo.
Yeah.
And this is awesome. It's this sort of bluesy, pentatonic shred, scale shred, major shred, punk, fast, sort of...
Yeah, and I thought it was cool, because it was, it had a lot of really, articulate notes that you could hear, very precise shredding, but then it also had a lot of sections that were, muddled and,
Because it had that sort of deathy, chaotic noise, in addition to having very... Like I said, there's a lot of skillful work going on here.
And then I like how it's a little interspersed with some vocals. They'd come in every so often, and then the guitar would respond with some squeals.
Yes, no, this song is very well crafted. For a song that's just sub 3 minutes, it's the perfect length. It just feels really good. It's got the energy, and I really enjoyed this song. And it ends just right with sort of it ends with it has an end scream where it's It doesn't do it doesn't do a blech like we see later in it, but it just goes it ends. And that's really awesome, especially because that end scream leads directly into the next song, The Sick Get Sicker.
The Sick Get Sicker. Did it make you sick?
It did not. This song is the first one. I was researching them a little bit, and they were very influential in Death Doom and stuff like that. You wouldn't say by the start of this song that it's Death Doom necessarily.
Yeah, this song kind of started out with a similar kind of Well,
it starts off.
after the intro.
And the intro is the screams. Lots of screams.
To me, it sounded like coughing and retching. Because it gets sicker, so...
Now you say that, it's totally true, because it's got that sort of repeated, echoey delay feel, like you get that sort of... I totally understand that. Yeah. That makes so much sense. And yeah, it's got this sort of, like, chorus of screamy, grossy weirdness. And then it goes into this sort of intro-y, fun sort of hard rock.
It's like a darker riff than previously, but still like upbeat, up-tempo, I mean.
I will say, it's really interesting that they get labeled as like sort of death doom sometimes with all this stuff, and they get into it.
I was confused by that until about a minute into the song, and then it just drops to a do-do-do-do-do-do. And I'm like, oh, there's the doom.
You just have to check the list. Is it much slower than anything else in the album? Yes. Is it harmonic minor? Yes. Does it have bells? Yes. Boom. You've captured full doom.
Doomed it up.
Yeah, and so it's exactly what it needs to be. That the lead has this beautiful, haunting, ringing tone. It's very, very sort of melodic and awesome. The drummer, Chris there is just getting the ting, 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 ting. He's just getting those little bells just in perfect.
Is that how you drum?
Well, when you're doing the bells, you have to be all mysterious about it. Anyway, but no, this doom chorus, this doom death chorus thing is great.
Yeah, and I like how in that section, when the riff gets lower, the vocals get higher.
Yeah, it was really complimentary.
Nice adjustment there.
It's interesting. Then there was that post-chorus transition, because they had to find a way to transition from that back into the speed of the verse. Mm-hmm. So they do this sort of muted this sort of descending scale work thing. And I thought it was a really good way to sort of, because it was muted, so it still had that sort of doomy sort of like, it's heavy feel. But then it also started doing with some scale work, so it moved the speed back up. So I thought it was a really good way to transition. Yeah. And then the bridge is really interesting here. Because it feels like he took the mic from like across the room in the cave or whatever and just brought it real close to his face. And then like, the vocals are so much more prominent in this bridge. It's almost like he's doing like a death rap. He's so much more like just right there, and it's just him mostly. You don't pay attention to the other instruments, the drums as much. You hear really just his vocal in this bridge.
Yeah, I can see it.
And then this solo starts, and it's really shreddy. Yeah. This is the longest, shreddiest solo on the whole EP, I think.
And there is, like, towards the end at least, there's some whammy nonsense. But
but that's wonderful.
Yes, I didn't say I don't love whammy nonsense, but...
Yes, no, this solo, it's full of super masterful scale work. You can hear the distinction between notes. It's not like this sort of like, oh, I'm going fast because that's what the genre requires.
It's very distinct with just enough whammy.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. There's tapping, there's whammy, and then through the end of the song, there's sort of this sort of
these like dive bombs underneath the verse. Yeah,
and it's just so wonderfully chaotic. It's got this sense of like fun that I feel like I didn't expect. From the cover, Puncturing the Grotesque, it's like corpses going through lava or something. And I'll throw it up right here. And it's just, I wouldn't expect something just so... if they don't all have smiles on their faces, it would be crazy.
Yeah, I suspect, like, I'd love to see them live. I suspect when they play live, they're just, like, look super happy about it.
Yeah, just like the guys from Nile. They look super happy when playing.
I love them.
Alright, and then the end, it ends perfectly in just a wonderful way. It just goes... It just is that pure death metal, black metal, he just sort of like... And it's just so awesome. And it was just fantastic.
Yeah. And then it transitions kind of abruptly, I'd say, to the next song.
Which is Gas Mask Lust.
Gas Mask Lust. This song kind of starts out doomy right from the beginning.
Yeah, it's super slow. It's got this sort of atonal chord, the...
Yeah. And then the vocals come in, and they're really evil sounding. And
they're, like I said, they're quiet. They feel kind of... I said they're super quiet, random vocalizations.
Yeah. And they kind of muffled at first, and then it just... The only word I can use to describe it is evil. It's just like...
Yeah, it's got this atmosphere of, like you said, the Norwegian death cave. they truly understand, having been one of like the early genre people for this sort of death stuff, they truly understand what it is to make dark, evil, heavy music, and I love it to death. So then we go into the verse, and he does this really slow guttural, and this is super slow, really super slow lead.
Yeah.
And the drums are just...
like, it's the doomiest part of this album, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, this is...
This first verse of the song.
2 BPM.
Yes.
It's so slow and heavy and syrupy, and it's just weighing you down with its heaviness.
And it's really nice, I think.
Oh, yeah, no, this is awesome.
And then it kind of gets a little more intense for the next verse gets a little higher.
I won't use the phrase kicks it up because I'm going to use that later, but it definitely, like, it gets your heart, it gets its own heartbeat pumping a little faster. It's a little bit of adrenaline kicked into it for the guitar chorus because it goes back to that sort of that from the intro, but it makes it sort of a guitar lead instead. Yeah,
there's a little lead there and it picks up the pace a little bit more.
And there are vocal blasts.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, it's really interesting because the first half is just this solid, doomy, the first 2/3 even, solid, doomy song. Then there's this really short, really fast, pentatonic-y, shreddy solo. It's like over in half a second. It comes out of nowhere.
I wrote, to quote myself, the solo whips it out for a hot second.
It does, though, because it goes, and it's done. And then the whole song changes entirely to a different song.
And then it's over.
Yeah,
suddenly.
But it changes into this sort of hard rock sort of, and it goes, it gets this sweet sort of hard rockin' riff with these death metal tone, death metal vocal, and it's got so much energy. It's having a good time, but it's still heavy, and I love that about it.
No, and like all that I wanted from this song is like because it did a really good job of building up from that slow doomy biz to the like rockness and with that fast solo and all that stuff, it built up to that really well, and I wanted it to kind of circle back around back to the doomy biz.
Well, what's funny is this is a 4-minute long song.
Yeah, I felt like it could have been longer.
Well, the thing is, the song it feels like it's 2 minutes. You listen to it and you'll be like, that was over so fast. I didn't have nearly enough time to...
Because it builds up so nicely. But yeah, in my opinion, the only thing that could have made it better was to come back around to the slow part, because I feel like it just ends really abruptly.
Well, I mean, yeah, just like this is about to end abruptly, because we're going to go to Corpses of War.
Corpses at War. Did it make you want to start a war?
It certainly gave me the pumped up adrenaline to start a war. This song is awesome. Like,
yeah, this song is pretty cool. I was gonna say, it's another kind of doomy intro.
Yeah, it starts off with very harmonic minor, lots of metally yelling and build up in the drums.
Yeah, and then, the first vocal you hear is just a...
It's wonderful. It's exactly what I want. Like, this whole EP is exactly what I want it to be, and I can't say that enough. And like I said, the build-up has this sort of like... this really build-up.
Well, and then there's almost like a... there's almost like a marchy beat that happens. There's like
yes.
Sort of business.
Which just hops right into this verse. And this verse just starts chugging right away. Yeah. I said it's like Motorhead. If Motorhead were sort of like deathy. This goes down. Yeah,
see, to me it felt kind of like crust punky.
Yeah,
a little bit.
I can see that.
This song in particular and some other stuff reminded me of like Dark Throne in their crust punk phase.
Like it's black and roll sort of biz.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of that, except of course with not black metal vocals. But it kind of gave me that vibe.
Well, no, like I said, the verse of this, I totally get what you're saying. It's so energetic and yet simple because it goes directly from that sort of like chuggy, sort of gallopy, sort of rock class, like sort of rocky riff into a sort of chromatic sort of scale work at the end of each thing, and a sort of Bay Area style. It's hardcore, full of energy, and then it goes into this chorus, which I said is very unlike the rest of it. I wanted to say it slowed down and become doom metal, but what it is actually, I feel, is stoner metal because it's so groovy and
groove doom.
It's so groovy and it's so like it's got this sort of really heavy, fuzzy sort of sound. It's just really. It's just, you really can't help but move your body really slowly to it. And it's really great. And I think, like I said, it's very stoner metal. And to go from that sort of like I said, Motorhead to stoner metal in one song.
One would think wouldn't go together very well, but
it works so nicely.
The transition's really good.
Well, especially the second time the chorus comes around and it adds the lead tone, like the solo. adds the lead tone to that slow, groovy riff, and it just makes the whole thing so... It sings. It sings in a beautiful stoner metal-y way.
Yeah. And speaking of transitions in the song, the transition, like, from the... into the bridge is also really good.
Oh yeah, this bridge. I said this bridge is so intensely Black Sabbath it, like, hurts me inside. Except it adds growls. That's the difference. It's like...
Well, and the vocals are kind of, like, cacophonous.
No, it's wonderful how, like... Yeah. It does that, because Black Sabbath, these long, wailing guitar sounds are like, and then the vocal, like, it just sounds so, a
beautiful cacophony.
It is, it sings in a metal way, and I just really dig it. And it does that slow sort of bridgy biz, and it goes back, and then it ends with this sort of like,
yeah, there's a really short and sweet outro solo thing. Which brings up my main problem with the song is that I felt like there should have been more of that, like more guitar solo.
More guitar solos. Well, I think this song was just trying to tell a slower, more, like I said, it adds the guitar lead during the chorus. It has that bridge with that intense Black Sabbath-y singing. I think this song was just trying to tell a different story. This song is the ballad.
I guess not every song needs a solo. I just want a solo.
It just ends explosively and then it goes right into Gore Crow.
Gore Crow. Did you want to gore a crow?
No, I didn't. That's a weird thing to just want to do, but okay. So this song starts off with this sweet sort of like... This
riff is so cool. I love it because it's got such a unique rhythm.
Sabbath
it's
doom plus stutter step. Yeah, it's got that wonderful sort of like stutter.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I love the interesting rhythm there.
Well, it's so interesting that, and he's singing the whole time. He's doing the drumming of that interesting sort of stutter step.
Dude, I can't imagine.
Well, he's singing. He's screaming.
I just can't imagine playing that and singing at the same time. I would be impressed to see that.
Yes, it's so wonderful. And then while they're playing this sort of Sabbathy do, you can also hear like there's some trilling and there's some. It's really musically complex for being so slow, and that's what's so wonderful about it. They take a slow riff, they add a stutter step, and they add really intricate playing, and it makes something that was simple, beautiful and orchestral almost. It's so awesome sounding.
Yeah, it's really cool. But then it changes.
Yes.
After that, and what I'm gonna say first is that in the first minute of the song, there are like 4 tempo changes, like. Holy crap, it like, before, when you get used to one tempo, it changes again. And it's like, my brain can't keep up with it. Maybe I'm just dumb. I don't know, but there's a lot
Don't suggest that to the people.
But there's just a lot of tempo time signature changes.
Yes.
Like,
well, that's what's interesting when the chorus kicks it up with like, I'm going to say this phrase, but it's okay. It adds the Slayer beat.
Oh yeah, like That's a technical musical term, by the way. The Slayer beat.
Yeah. So, and like trim picking under like it adds a lot more energy and brings more simplicity to the riff, but it really the whole thing stays the same level mentally of stimulating. It's just as stimulating as it was.
Yeah, it just changes. It doesn't necessarily become more or less exciting. It just kind of like changes a lot.
And then the post-chorus has this sweet descendy scale groovy thing that It's just the post-chorus. I wouldn't even say it's the whole post-chorus. It happens like once after the first time. It's really interesting because it goes right into the 2 minutes-ish solo thing.
You mean the slower part?
This is the first part of the slower solo.
Yeah. There's the slow section, and I feel like there's the solo there that's really quiet. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like backwardly mixed, and there's these like anguished screams.
Yeah,
like
there's, like I said, I've had the section's almost mournful. Like the guitar is really quiet, doing these quiet, waily business. I
just felt like it was too quiet. Like, I get what they're going for, I guess, in that it's all kind of muted, but I couldn't hear the solo.
Well, I think it has to be that way for the juxtaposition of the solo that comes after. Because after that is just, it breaks into this full-blown, crazy, everyone's going a million billion miles an hour.
Yeah, the fast groove comes back, and...
and the guitars, the guitarist is just... shredding up and down all around, to and fro, and these beautiful, these wonderful scales, minor, major, pentatonic-y, just all over the place. It's so fast and it's so musical and it's just wonderful.
But you bring up what I must say about the song as a whole. This song is a little manic. Like, it's just it's got a lot of themes that are happening.
It's one of the shorter ones on the album at 3 minutes and 33 seconds.
That's why I say it's manic, because it's just like short and I'm gonna do everything all at once.
But because of that, I think that's what they were going for. I think that really captures their sound. It's got this chaotic, crazy early death sound that I just really appreciate. It's so fun and it feels punky and yet with more technical skill. And it's well, speaking of punky and technical skill, the next song is
Fuck You. Fuck You. Coming in at a minute and 45 seconds long. This is a cover of the song, from the band Bloodbath, which, if you've got a link to the original, please leave it to us, because I could not find it.
But so this is, it's got that full-on punk sort of just, I'm angry, let me just play fast and yell at you.
Yeah. No, this song made me so happy. Like, it's just so aggressive, and what I found amusing about it is that I felt like the vocals on this song were more understandable.
Yeah, because he was more just angry yelling than he was growling.
Yeah,
and I think that's a cover thing.
Yeah.
So then about the mid song, 40 seconds in or whatever, there's some sweet soloing that just happens, and it kind of...
It's short and sweet.
Yeah, and the guy's just like, he's yelling under it, it's just, it's this cacophonous noise. You can just imagine the venue, everyone just jumping all over each other.
Oh yeah, this song, I imagine, like, they probably but include live. Like, or at least if they don't include it live, I imagine they should, because it would be so much fun.
It's just got so much energy, and it's so short you could throw it in anywhere in the set. And it just feels good. It starts full force. It's full energy the whole time, and it ends wonderfully. Where he's just like, F you, and especially you in the back, and you, and I hate you. This song is so wonderfully cathartic and fun and beautiful, and I just absolutely loved it to death. That's why we would like to see the original. So let's talk about the whole EP. My favorite song was Corpses of War.
Oh, all right. My favorite song was also Corpses of War.
So it's got that really fast, like, Motorhead-y riff and then it's got that stoner metal sort of groove.
Yeah, it sewed everything. It had a lot of variety, but it sewed all the variety together.
Yeah, with the Black Sabbath-y bridge sound and ending explosively. It felt like a tour de force of their whole sound. It had that harmonic-y intro, it had that fast sort of verse, it had the groove, it had everything. And it just felt so good because of that. And I absolutely loved it. My least favorite... It's hard to say my least favorite because I genuinely liked almost all of this.
Me too. Like,
I would say it would have to be Depths of Dehumanization, if only because...
That doesn't count.
Okay, if we can't...
That's an intro. That doesn't count.
Then it's so hard to say because it's all so good. But I guess Gore, maybe? Because it's just...
felt a little unfinished.
Yeah, it's a little manic, like you said. Yeah. But all the parts of Gore are amazing, and I don't want to list anything as bad because this is really good.
Yeah, really, like, it's all good.
Yeah, speaking of good, what would you rank this on a scale of 1 to 10?
It's hard because I don't really know what I'd be ranking it against, but I don't know, like a 7?
Yeah, this is a 7 or 8.
Good.
Like, honestly, I quite enjoyed this. Like, every minute of this is full of something fun that you can enjoy.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of variety, and it's just really good.
Would you recommend this to others?
Sure, yeah. I'd recommend it to my punk friends, to my metal friends.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I recommend this too, because it's just fun, and it's not like... It's as far as death metal goes, it's not like too guttural or too offensive or too gross or too anything. It's just it's
at least insofar as we could understand the lyrics.
Which it could, Corpses of War, Gas Mask Lusk, it could be extremely gross. But the fact is, just listening to it, it's fun. So would you go back and listen to more Autopsy after this?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, I'd give Autopsy a listen.
I'm definitely going to after this. I thoroughly enjoyed this so much more than I thought I would. Like,
me too. I was like, at first I looked at the cover and I was like, oh, this might be a little intense for me. But no, it was really, really fun.
It's just the right speed. It's the right intensity. Everything about this is just, it's a beautiful amalgamation of sound. And I think it's absolutely fantastic. And I think you should go listen to it. So in the end, everybody's a critic, including us. Bye-bye.